Welcome to this episode of BlockTalk Africa, powered by Binance. This is your home for all things crypto, blockchain, and the future of money. In this particular episode, we are going to be talking about understanding blockchain and its use cases. Last week, we talked about adoption of crypto in Africa, and we learned so many things from our guest who happened to come on the show. And for you who is watching this particular episode or listening to it, you can sign up for a Binance account right now and use the referral code KISSFM. And if you are among the first 500 people who sign up this week, you will get 100 shillings that will be added onto your spot account. And make sure to follow us on our social media platforms at Binance Africa on every social media platform. Place your comments in this particular episode. Any questions that you have, let us know, and I'll make sure to go into the comments to answer them. And now we will have our guest tell us about blockchain and its use cases. Welcome to the show. Tell us who you are and what do you do.
Thank you so much, Momo.
Yeah.
My name is Eric Michubu, and I'm a crypto enthusiast. I've been in the crypto space for about 9 years now, and it's been quite an interesting journey. I've worked with various brands in the space, but at the moment I'm running a liquidity business called Flip Liquidity, and we're also running a retail product called Yixi App. Sure.
Awesome. Our crypto tip of the week is for you to be able to understand that blockchain is not just in the financial space. It's not just about money. The technology that is blockchain can be used in any industry, whether it is healthcare, supply chain, real estate, name the industry, blockchain can be used to make that industry even better. And because you are an expert in this space and you've been in this space for a while, so our listeners will really benefit from the expertise that you have. And so this particular episode, we want to delve into blockchain. We've done a lot of education over the past few weeks, and I wanted to know, because this is a term that people hear about so many times, what is blockchain to you in simple terms that we can be able to understand?
Blockchain, put in the simplest way possible, in my opinion, is a public ledger that records transaction in a secure manner and in a very transparent way.
Okay.
So simply put, it's just blocks of transactions organized to form a chain. Then it's called a blockchain.
Interesting. I've had people talk about the analogy around it being similar to an Excel sheet that everyone can be able to actually see. And so I wanted to know, because we are telling people to move to blockchain, what's the biggest difference or the differences that blockchain has from a regular database that we currently use?
So the very first one and the most outstanding one is that blockchain is totally decentralized in the manner that once transactions are recorded, the entries go to all network of computers that are connected to that blockchain. Yeah. Unlike a regular ledger, whereby a transaction is recorded maybe from a single entry point, and then the same transaction can be edited from the same central place. Okay. But when it comes to public blockchains, once a transaction has been recorded, it goes through across all the network of computers connected to it. So making a correction or erasing a transaction is very difficult. So that's one of the biggest distinctive feature between a normal ledger and a blockchain. The other one is that information is organized into blocks, other than the regular ledgers whereby information could be just one block, whether it was entered in even different times or whether it was multiple entries. Yeah.
Okay. So are there industries that are already adopting blockchain technology that you know of? You could probably give us some examples that exist.
For sure, there's so many industries. The very first one is the one that I am in, finance. Blockchain is actually changing things up in the finance sector. For example, today we have the biggest use case in the blockchain space being stablecoins. Stablecoins are changing the game when it comes to remittances or settlements, cross-border payments. So the finance industry is somehow taking a different shape, whereby traditionally, for you to send money across the country, for example, living in Africa, or more particularly Kenya, you have to go from Kenya shilling to the dollar, and then maybe wire the funds maybe to the destination country, and then that money will be converted now to the local currency. In the blockchain era, with stable coins, you could just go from Kenya shilling to USDT, for example, or USDC, and then send it across. And then it's either if the merchant or the person you're paying on the receiving end, they either accept stable coins or not. But they can be able to convert the stable coins into their local currency within just a few clicks. And it takes microseconds to do that. Yeah, sure.
Are there other industries apart from finance that are making use of blockchain technology?
I've seen a number of use cases in the supply chain space, also in the health sector, whereby a few companies are using blockchain to record patients' data. So that when a patient, let's say, goes to the hospital, they don't have to remember exactly what kind of medication they were given by the doctor. Even if they go maybe to a different doctor or a different clinic, since that information is shared in blockchain, they can be able to check their data of their previous visits on the same blockchain. Yeah, sure.
One of the proponents of blockchain usually is around transparency and security. Can you help us understand how does blockchain now bring that into the different industries that you just mentioned?
First of all, in the blockchain space, data is encrypted and secured by multiple network of computers. So if an entry is made, it's almost impossible to change unless all computers in that network agree. So that makes sure it's almost tamper-proof. And that ensures that the network is safe and secure to be penetrated or for any alterations to happen. Yeah.
And in the blockchain space, you'll most of the time hear terminologies such as mining and validation. Maybe you can tell us what that means for our people who've never heard about what mining is, and what is the role of mining and validators in the blockchain space.
So mining, in my opinion, is just a simple and fancy word that is used in the space to mean people or institutions or machines that verify transactions within the blockchain space. So when you talk of miners, we're talking about many supercomputers that are built to verify transactions within a specific blockchain. So what the miners do is that they ensure that the blockchain is safe. So the more miners there is in the space or within a blockchain, the more the secure the network is. Simply because all the miners, all these supercomputers working together, they have to all agree for a transaction to be recorded on the blockchain or for any alteration to be made on the blockchain. So miners or validators are simply computers working together to verify blockchain transactions.
Our Binance feature of the week is Binance Smart Chain. This is a blockchain that has been developed by Binance to make sure that transactions that are happening online are low cost and they are fast. This is actually one of the largest blockchains that exist that has made sure that security and low cost is one of its huge features that makes it extremely reliable as well. And because it is backed by Binance, you can actually trust it for your transactions. You talked a little about blockchain in the finance space. How does blockchain now, if I'm a financial institution, how will it improve how I run my business, and how does it bring value to the end users of the data that is there in the financial space?
So let me talk about things that we do every single day. Blockchain helps us to run very seamless transactions. If, for example, you were to do settlement, or you want to pay someone, let's say in Uganda, and you have Kenya shilling here, you have to go to a bank or to a money transfer company, fill in a lot of paperwork, and then authorize that money to be transferred to the other party. And that takes a while. If you're lucky, probably it will take about 24 hours for the person you're paying to receive the funds.
Yeah.
But within the blockchain space, especially with stable coins, it makes it very easy. All you need is just a wallet address of the person or the company you want to pay, and then just buy stable coins. You could do that on any exchange platform like Binance, and then just send to that particular wallet address. Yeah. And that's it. The person receives the money within just a few, at most maybe 1 minute.
Okay. Yeah. And as a reminder to our people who are watching and listening to this episode, make sure to download the Binance app and use the referral code KISSFM. And for the very first 500 of you who do this week, you'll get 100 shillings deposited into your spot account. Oh. And just getting into blockchain, many of the people who hear about it, one of the things that they worry about is around security. And I wanted to know, is it possible for a blockchain to be hacked?
Well, it's very difficult to hack into a blockchain, especially the public blockchains. Existing ones, actually, which have a very good network of computers. Yeah. We've had a few cases whereby decentralized exchanges or even centralized exchanges have been hacked in the past. But that doesn't mean that all blockchains can be hacked. It's been very, very hard. There are a number of times that we've heard of cases where people are trying to penetrate, for example, the Bitcoin blockchain. But simply because it has thousands of computers networked to it, it's almost impossible to hack. Yeah. But we don't know what the future holds, especially with time like now, whereby we are having a lot of supercomputers coming up in the space, in the tech space. So far, I would say it's almost impossible to hack into a blockchain. Yeah. And a lot of people, when they hear of exchanges being hacked, they think it's a blockchain that has been hacked. We've had a few cases whereby there have been weaknesses in a few of the new blockchains coming into the space, but there have been just minor exploitations. Yeah. And I would say they've not been very major.
Okay. Yeah. Kindly help us understand what is a smart contract, and then how does a smart contract work in the blockchain space? Yeah.
Smart contracts are actually self-executing digital agreements. I'll give an example. Digital agreement is whereby terms are set, and in future, when those terms are met, then the agreement executes by itself. Yeah. There is no human interruption. There is no kind of assistance that is needed or of a scene that is needed for the contract to be executed. So a very good example, I would say, we've had smart contracts even before the blockchain space or the blockchain technology, only that we did not refer them to as smart contracts, probably because they could be altered. Let's say, for example, if you go to the insurance platform and your insurance maybe renews every 1st of January, and whenever you make that payment, you just get an insurance sticker immediately. That's more of a smart contract, simply because there is no one who is issuing you with the sticker or the receipt after you've made the payment. All that is needed is just for you to make the payment, and once it reflects on the other side, you just issued with it automatically. So that's a very good example of a smart contract, only that it is within a centralized ecosystem. So with blockchain now, smart contracts have become more efficient, more reliable, and more secure and transparent, simply because they're 100% self-executing.
I know you've mentioned a little about public blockchains and private blockchains.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe we can go into that to try and understand what is the difference between the two, and can I have my own blockchain that I'm using for whatever purpose it is?
Sure. So with public blockchains, they are more transparent and open for everyone to see, and for everyone who is a validator on the network to make decisions on. While on the other side, private blockchains, there are only select few who are able to vote and make decisions on the changes to be made on the blockchain. So that makes it that makes private blockchains not very reliable, simply because you don't know who is making the decisions on the blockchain. And the transparency that comes with the public blockchains makes them more reliable and quite efficient. Yeah.
So just as an aside there, is it possible for a company to just decide we are going to make our own blockchain network and just use it for ourselves, for our transactions?
Today, it's very possible to make your own blockchain. And actually, there are so many blockchains that do exist today, especially the private ones. A lot of companies today don't want to leverage the existing blockchains, which are public and for everyone to use. Majority of the big multinationals are building their own blockchains and testing them behind the scenes, of course. But of course, we do know that in the most of the big banking institutions coming up with their own blockchains to manage their own database, and majority of them are actually private, simply because they need to be able to control what kind of data or information runs through the blockchain. Yeah, sure.
I know for some of the people who may be listening, blockchain looks like this huge thing in the air that is almost abstract. Maybe you can give us a few examples of how can we as individuals use blockchain in our daily lives?
Cool. So the very first example, of course, is in the finance space, because that is the very first point where blockchain was used with Bitcoin. So if you want to experience blockchain, it's actually not very complicated. It's more like using M-Pesa, I would say, whereby you just need to, maybe if you need to move or communicate value with another person or entity, it's all about transferring value. Okay, so if you send maybe $5 to another Binance user, you're already using blockchain. Okay, especially if that transaction is on chain.
Thank you very much for taking time with us and teaching us so many things. And that was Eric teaching us about blockchain and its use cases. Next week, we have a brand new guest and a new episode talking about what blockchain's future is all about. And make sure that you sign up for a Binance account and use the referral code KISSFM to get 100 shillings into your spot account if you're among the first 500 people. Please, any questions from what we have discussed today and follow us on our social media platforms at Binance Africa. My name is Momo. I am your host for the show, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.